You're listening to the Quad M Show.
All right, so let's interview time here again, ladies and gentlemen. And here joining us today on the show is former adult film star turned pastor turned OnlyFans model. You most likely will know her from work as Nadia Hilton, but we've got Crystal DiGregorio on the show. Crystal, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Well, you know what? The second time is just as good as the first. That's oh, boy. Yeah. For you kids there pulling the curtain back, me, forgot to hit the record button. Okay, so let's go ahead here and backtrack, and we'll sound just as good as we did the first time. So, as you're just starting out doing the OnlyFans, how is that working out for you?
It's doing pretty good. I have a lot of my old fans showed up, and I have tons of new people, so it's been really positive and great. I can't complain.
Great. Do you feel now that you're doing the OnlyFans thing, kind of the lighter side, the more softcore-ish type thing, do you find that going from the extreme of triple X porn and then switching over doing the extreme of pastor in a in the confines of the church, that where you're at now, do you feel more of a balance between the two? Or are you feeling that where you're at right now is just more just natural and balanced?
Yeah, definitely. I went from one extreme to the next, it's like go big or go home type of thing. So I like where I'm at. It's like I'm in control of my content. I'm in control of me. Even when I was in the porn industry, it was like I had a little bit of control, but not full control, like with the people that I was shooting with and stuff. And now it's like I shoot only with my husband, and I have that one-on-one connection with my fans, and I love that.
So with more control, you get more balance in your life?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not, like I said, I've said in many interviews, it's not fully pastoring, it's not fully religion or fully porn. It's like I'm right in the middle. I still believe in God. I still pray and have my beliefs there, but I'm not stuck in that cult type of religion like I was.
Well, okay. What's the worst job you ever had then?
My worst job? I don't know if I really have had a worst job. I've been pretty blessed, I would say, with my jobs. I mean, there's a lot of scenes that I didn't like shooting in the porn industry, but other than that, I mean, I loved pastoring. Was hard for me. It was difficult. But it really wasn't a job. I never got paid for it. It was something that I did out of the love of people and helping people. But it became very draining because people didn't respect my boundaries. They, they would call all hours in the night, and, they would want, full attention. And I couldn't give that because I had to meet with so many people. So it was definitely draining.
Well, I really don't see you as being, a fry slinger over at McDonald's. So I guess if that's what we're putting as the worst, then you're doing okay. That's
yeah.
So you had mentioned there that when you're looking at control, over your career, over life, over all that type of stuff in general. One of the things that maybe I had, kind of maybe didn't hear quite right in the interviews or whatnot, was that there may not have been that much control in the adult industry, but I have heard other, actresses, contract players, what have you, sit there and be able to say that, I have things that I will not do, like whether it's I'm not going to do interracial, or I'm not going to do anal, or I'm not going to do. Did you have that type of control within your contracts? Did you have that type of control with the directors, producers, whatever it may be, to say, no DVDA for me, thank you?
Yeah, I had my restrictions. I had a great agent who, told me what to do. And He would never book me for things I didn't want to do. I never did gangbangs or, double anal or any of those crazy things, I don't even think that my body would allow me to.
Nadia doing bukkake.
Nope.
Nope.
So, I mean, my agent was great. So he only booked me for things that I told him that to book me for,
Okay. Here, I'll throw in an aside that we didn't do during the first go around on this. How comfortable were you with, like, say, things in the porn industry that you may not have experienced in real life? And I ask this because we had a guest a while back who said that they were bisexual, and I asked him about their first bisexual encounter, and she said, I haven't had one yet. So there was kind of the okay, well, really, how much are you? So when you, depending on like how exposed into things that you were, like, say, how comfortable were you with, like, say, your first girl scene, or any of those things you hadn't done in the real world that now you're doing in front of a camera?
Most of the things I did was first time on camera. So,
okay.
Yeah, I would say my whole world outside of porn was very prude.
Okay.
I didn't, I wasn't a girl in high school that slept around or any of that stuff. I the whole porn industry was like, that was like my sex life.
Right. Okay.
I didn't have it.
So just clap your hands. Let's get her done. Right. With that, then, kind of being said, then, a lot of people talk about the abuses and kind of the real seamy underbelly of the industry, and you have a lot of people coming out and dropping names. People like James Dean, and once again, I forgot the goddamn name for the guy. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. Ryan Madison, as being abusive and taking liberties, and you've got, shows like Hot Girls Wanted, where they're talking about just how really brutal the indie scene is in Miami, and just how, they'll take a 19-year-old and just turn them around and, be done with them within 6 months. How many of those, it sounds like it's very limited because you had somewhat control there. How many abuses did you have? Did you have any of those type of abuses in your direction in the industry?
I wasn't abused much in the industry. I did shoot with James Dean, and he was on my blacklist. I remember seeing he was very aggressive, and it wasn't that type of shoot at all. And actually, the director spoke up at one point in time. He's like, "You got to take it down a notch." So, yeah, I can't really speak for how he treated other girls, but he was more aggressive with me, but that got shot right down, and I never shot with him again.
Okay. Fascinating. We've got actual verbal confirmation now. Yes, James Dean is an ass. so there's that. Who would you say now as far as being the most aggressive and taking the liberties there? After that, who was the biggest goof that you ever had to work with? Who's the one that you really just kind of had to bite the bullet and say, I'm letting this doofus do things to me, and just kind of let it go?
Oh gosh. I can't remember. The only other person I can say was like Benjamin Bratt. I didn't wasn't a big fan of him, but there wasn't a whole lot that I can think of, and many guys I can think of that was bad. I mean, there was one guy that smelled really bad. He was a very overweight guy that was very hairy and smelled really bad, and I didn't like shooting with him.
Would his name rhyme with John Raramy? He said,
no, I never shot with Ron Jeremy. The guy did put his nasty mouth on my tit once, but cringe. Nasty. No, never shot with him.
I don't know if you guys have seen a recent photo of him in court, but ew.
Yeah, no. Father Time has definitely kind of kicked his ass a little bit there. So, and by the way, yes, that story is just as funny the second time around. So, yeah. So I'm glad we were able to touch on that one again. So then, fast, kind of then fast forwarding, through the end of through the career, as you get towards, the tail end, speculation, I could be wrong about this, but it seems like the car crash of 2014 was kind of that moment that, drunks like me like to call the moment of clarity. Was that?
The news kind of made that more than what it was. My whole change was because I was going through a very traumatic, horrible, toxic relationship at the time. And it was basically like pulling me out of that and getting my mental state back. And, that was my saving moment.
And so with that, at that point in time, was it around that time I think you had stated in an interview here, and I was saying that you started reading the Bible on set. Was that around this time as well?
Oh yeah. It's so I had 2 shoots I had to finish in Las Vegas, and that was basically all around the same time frame, and that's when I was reading the Bible on set.
Okay. How were people responding to that? Did anybody, were you kind of getting flack, or was anybody, busting balls on that with reading a Bible on a porn set? Or did you have anybody kind of come to the side and say, hey, I'm looking to be saved? What was the reaction of anybody with that?
Nobody knew I was actually reading. I had this pink cover on the back of my Bible. It didn't have a big picture of Jesus with Holy Bible across it, so nobody knew I was actually reading it.
Okay.
It's kind of that shame thing. I was going through that state of shame then, where I didn't know if what I was doing was right or what I was doing wrong, or and I was saved in a very cult-like church, so it was different.
So, when you started attending church, did anybody from the church or the delegation know of your past in the industry? Or
Oh yeah, everybody knew who I was. My sister actually was going to the church before I started going there. So on top of that, and then them knowing, who I was because of, the newspapers. I was either in the newspapers or my nightclub or something.
Oh,
Everybody knew who I was.
Okay. There's no getting around it then.
No.
Oh, see, I was hoping somebody actually outed themselves as watching a video. Do you say which one's worse, the one creating it or the one watching it, pal?
I have people from church watching me now and on my OnlyFans page, so it's just another eye opener of how fake people can be at times. And
right.
TJ, there's no hypocrisy in church. You know that.
No. No. What goes on behind closed doors is between me and the computer screen.
Exactly.
So
this part.
You said the church you got into was more like a cult. Was that one of the things that kind of drove you to open your own church with your husband?
No, ex-husband. No.
Ex-husband. That's right.
No, that was more his thing, his calling, or whatever you want to call it. So whatever he wanted to do was more his thing. I had no intentions of becoming a pastor or anything. It was just something that, kind of fell into my lap.
Okay. That kind of, yeah.
So
not like that.
Right. But so assuming that you had met your ex-husband through the church that you started going to then, and how did that come about? I know we kind of saying that, but was it just, you guys, I'm assuming at this point you had already married. And was it just one night you just had this realization? You guys just said, you know what, let's go just start our own church because this is just too confining. There's too many people making judgments. You know, was that kind of the major reason on that, or?
So I was going to a church that his dad was pastoring.
Okay.
And he had pastored his own church by itself. So when we got engaged, his dad was like, nope. And the head of the UPCI church, United Pentecostals, contacted his dad and was like, you know, this is in the news. You got to shut this down type of thing. So they actually took his license away from him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like a very shut down thing. David Bernard was, is it David Bernard? I can't remember. I may be saying that wrong. But whoever was in charge back then of the whole church, of the United Pentecostals, he's the one who contacted them. And so it had a lot of control. And so we basically walked away from the whole church and everybody and got shunned. And then tons of people were contacting us and they're like, yeah, we want you to pastor a church. So we just started one up.
Okay. So it seems like you definitely had your share of supporters. And obviously you had the detractors and that type of thing. What would you consider to be like, what was the rudest thing somebody had ever said to you within the church group? You know, judgmenting on your past and that type of thing.
Everybody knew who I was, so it wasn't like there was no surprise there. Not, you know, like when I first started going, people would say things about the way that I was dressing and you know, because I would walk in there with showing cleavage and stuff like that. I didn't know any better. Very, very quickly learned that girls are not supposed to be wearing pants, and I got kind of shunned for that a little bit.
So they let you just Porky Pig it then, or how did that work?
It was like a regular, you know, what I would say like business type of outfit.
Right.
But you know, girls couldn't cut your hair, you couldn't wear makeup, you couldn't wear pants, could not show your shoulders, no cleavage. Like it was, your high heels couldn't be crazy high. It was very I got you know, kind of slapped around a little bit for wearing crazy high heels, but
oh my God.
Wow.
Show some ankle and you're going to hell.
Well, yeah.
Good grief.
Couldn't paint your fingernails. Like it was crazy, the things that I can't even believe I allowed myself to go down that path.
Wow.
There's what do the folks around here call themselves? Like the Amish.
Yeah. They're close, you know. But I'm hearing not all Pentecostal churches are like that. So I mean, I just went to United Pentecostals, and that was just that's some hardcore stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the extremes. They're kind of like ranked number 1 or 2 on my examples of why I am not overly religious. They get I hate to say it, but it just takes 1 or 2 to really spoil it for you. And I do have to say I'm not judging, but just of my own opinion, yeah, they're kind of the ones that really ruin it for me personally.
Oh yeah, they keep more people out of church than they do bring them in because of the way that they judge people. It's sad.
Yeah.
What was the rudest thing someone could have said? One of them said to you then.
It was just talking about, you know, like, oh, you're showing too much cleavage. I mean, you know, I'll just say one thing that hurt me more, I would say, was the pastor at the time I was like becoming friends with people in the church, and he told me that nobody was allowed at my house. And I was like, okay. And this is before I met my ex-husband and everything, but he came up to me because he found out, you know, some of the girls I was hanging out with in the church, they were coming over my house and hanging out. And he's like, you know, none of the girls are allowed at your house anymore. And I was just like,
what the hell?
Can't tell me. I'm a woman. I own my own place. And no, this is crazy. But that was just, it just realized that I think that was the day where I was like, this place is so ridiculously controlled. It's insane. Like a pastor shouldn't be telling you who you can come in and out of your house. It's nuts.
Oh my dad. Wow.
Yeah, it's silly.
I think he thought like I was shooting porn in my house or something with these people. It was odd because at the time I was having Bible studies with the assistant pastor and his wife at my house. Like, plastered all across my walls. I mean, it's a regular house.
We've heard a rumor they're shooting holy honeys at your house, and we need to put a stop to this.
It's nuts.
When did you decide to do OnlyFans then? What was the driving force? Was it some of your old coworkers that were getting into it and you decided to tear off a piece too, or?
No, so one of my friends started it and she, she's like, you should try it. And then I was like, I ended up talking to my husband about it and he's like, yeah, do it. If you want to do it, do it. So I kind of tiptoed in it for a little bit before I started doing, scenes and stuff. I was just doing like nude pictures and like dance videos and stuff like that. And then I decided to go. I was like, I'm comfortable with this. I can do this, and then just shoot, porn scenes.
Nice.
Okay. And when you say husband, we're talking about your current husband,
yes.
Not the ex-husband, pastor.
Right.
I don't think he would have been okay with it.
TJ had written down one of the questions, what made you leave your church? And I wrote down beside it, divorce with a question mark.
But I didn't even realize that. So you're actually doing like full like one-on-one scenes with your husband on the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming that with OnlyFans, and again, I just kind of know of it. I've never actually, been in there, subscribed, or anything along those lines. But I'm assuming that there'll be some things like picture requests, video requests, that type of thing.
Yeah, I get a lot of that probably daily. People want a custom video or something.
What's the what's the weirdest thing anybody's asked for?
Like there's really no limits or boundaries. I can't say anything's weird because I've heard it all before. People have asked me to talk, down to them, and I can't say it's weird because I've heard it so many times. It's kind of like it's normal thing for me. So
like the old rumored Led Zeppelin mud shark incident type thing. Yep. I actually asked me about that on Tuesday.
Well, one guy asked me, he's like, will you take a video of you peeing? And I'm like, nope, but it's not weird because I've heard it before. I know that's like fetish out there, but I'm not going to do everything that they asked me to do.
Right.
Like, I have my boundaries and I'm in control of it also. It's not,
Exactly.
No, I'm not peeing for you. Not happening, but
no water sports, kids. That's how it works on this one. So when you started up the OnlyFans, and here again, I was watching quite a few interviews just to, kind of see where everything was at and everything there. And in one of them, I think you were talking to a friend or, something along those lines, and you were confiding in her, telling her that you were starting to do the OnlyFans. And I found the statement you made interesting when you said to her, I'm breaking Nadia back out.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Is that like, have you, kind of, that separate, I get, for lack of a better term, the separation of church and state. Nadia is her own thing. Crystal is her own thing. Never the two shall meet. I mean, do you refer to Nadia as the third person character and that's not who Crystal is, or, how?
Nadia Hilton is, like my alter ego,
Right. Okay.
That's kind of like that bad girl side, the sex, the whole crazy wild side of me. And Crystal's the, wife, mom, and, I've totally separate. It's two different worlds, I would say. But, in the same sense, I talk to people and I have that same bubbly personality with people, as Crystal and as Nadia. So.
Well, and that does bring up, the interesting question. As a mother of 4, is that correct?
Yep.
How are you preparing, or how have you prepared? Because I know you had your first child at a very young age, so I'm sure he's, already up there in the teen years.
Oh, yep. He's 21 actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So he's well past that point then. So how have you handled, or how are you preparing for the moment when the kids at school say, we know what your mom was doing, or, it comes to them, or somehow, one of the kids finds out through other means and they start asking questions. How have you, I guess, first off, how did you handle that with the firstborn, and how are you looking to handle it with the younger kids?
I'll handle it with them the same way I did with my first. He was, I think it was 5th grade is when they were doing like the sex education stuff. I think he was 12 or 13 when I told him what I did. And he's like, I remember his first reaction. He's like, ew, gross. So but it was, he got bullied a little bit in school, but he had more friends that was coming over to the house, and they're like, oh, we want to see your mom.
Well, I was going to say, well, I'm sure they came over for a reason. That's
yeah. So with him, it wasn't too bad. So hopefully, I'm praying and hoping that it'll be the same. I just don't, like they brought up my daughter, with the whole porn stuff, like,
right,
oh, would you
right.
approve of your daughter doing porn? I'm like, no, but I would hope that her life goes down a different path. And, I went through a lot of traumatic events as a child, so I understand
right.
why I came to the place where I'm at now. So I'm hoping and praying that, none of that happens to her and she has more opportunities than what I had.
Yeah, well, because based on everything that I've seen and heard, from your previous interviews, that that probably won't be an issue, because it seems like she's actually got a little bit more of a stable life and more stable upbringing than what you unfortunately had as a youth.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I had my mother is amazing, and my now dad he's amazing too. But I was put in some horrible situations where I was molested a couple times as a child, and that it is something that not everybody can control. My mom didn't know about it and say anything about it until I was older in life.
So what does the future hold for you? What's beyond OnlyFans? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I have a great life. I have an amazing husband who supports me in every way, and it's such a healthy relationship than anything I've ever been in before. And I want to keep pursuing more mainstream stuff. I would love to go down the road of having some type of reality show or documentary done, something more that I have control in. I've had other documentaries and books and stuff like that written about me, but I want more control into something like that, because I've got more of a story where I want to talk about the very toxic relationship that I was in and where I got to where I'm at now. And I'm almost finished writing my book too.
Oh, well, I didn't know we had a book on the way there. Is that covering the bases from the beginning and the upbringing into the industry and the whole 9 yards? What chapters of your life is it covering?
Everything. I have a couple parts that I'm leaving out for legal reasons. I'll just say that. But
James Dean.
No.
Okay.
But I wrote the book already, and it was more based out before I started OnlyFans, so my outlook in life was a little different. So I'm going back through it and changing some stuff, because now I'm like in a more balanced life. So
awesome. What's the name of the book? Did we catch that already?
I I had a name for it, and I think I'm sticking with that one. Is Hope for the Hopeless.
Okay. There you go. Well, make sure when the things are getting finalized and that book's coming out, make sure to let us know, and we can get you back on. We'd love to have you back again for that. That'd be fantastic. So then at this point, where are Nadia Hilton fans gonna find you on the OnlyFans and the Instagrams and all that type of stuff? Whereabouts can we look for you?
You can just look me up onlyfans.com/Nadia Hilton, and then on Instagram it's just Crystal DiGregorio.
All right. Well, before we wrap up this little interview, and first I want to say, Crystal, thank you so much for being such a trooper after that snafu with the first batch of questions. Thank you. That's how we show that we're all professionals around here. But one thing that we do like to do with our interviewees / victims is a quick round of a lightning round of questions, completely non sequitur, just to get your initial knee-jerk reactions, not necessarily one-word answers, but the answers that work best for you. Is that can we go ahead and fire them off? All right, brace yourself. Here we go, Jason. Okay. Start your round of lightning questions.
All right. In the first few seconds, do you hope it's Ice Ice Baby or Under Pressure?
Under Pressure.
All right.
Good answer.
Okay. Got to listen close on this one. Sock, sock, shoe, shoe. Sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
I don't know about any shoe involved, but sock, something.
Read it slower there, Speedy.
Is it sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe?
Sock, shoe, sock, shoe. Depending on what terminology this is coming from.
Foot apparel.
All right. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Both.
Okay. Where were we? What do you find sexy?
My husband.
All right.
What good answer. That's a great safe answer right there. he must be sitting right next to you, huh?
Authentic love.
Oh, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Bad breath.
Okay. Who's your celebrity crush?
Vin Diesel.
All right. We have 2 more questions in the lightning round. Your house catches fire. You have saved your friends, family, and pets. You have one last thing or one last chance to save something. What is it?
My iPad, because it's got all my photos on it. My family.
Okay. Now, this is our most important question we've asked you the whole interview. This is the only one TJ and I have really, really, really been curious about the whole night. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, definitely a T-Rex.
T-Rex? Yeah. All right.
For the win.
For the win.
All right, then. Well, thank you again, Crystal, for reaching out and coming on to the show. It's definitely been a treat and a pleasure. Did you have anything else that you would like to mention? Any? I don't know. Do you do like personal appearances, conventions, any of that type of stuff, or is it pretty much just the OnlyFans and then that's it?
Right now it's just the OnlyFans. I mean, I'm not opposed to doing those things. So if I get asked, I'd probably do them.
Okay. All right. Well, for all you con folk, there you go. You know how to reach out. All right. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Crystal DiGregorio, thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right. And that is a wrap.